Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show. Look, I don't know if you saw my Facebook IMs, but me and I got Ed with me, by the way, and we brought up the Invincible season finale.
Oh, shit.
You're live on the air.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you're calling number 5. Hold on, let me turn you up just a little bit.
No, I don't give a fuck. We're talking about Invincible.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Shortbox Podcast, Season 7.
The Shortbox Podcast was recorded before a live internet audience.
Look, I brought up, so I had championed the Invincible season finale, and I brought up how you were now reading the I can never say that word. Compendiums. You were reading the compendiums, and
I went through all of it.
Damn, you're done. So you're fully caught up with the series. You've read all.
Yeah.
Damn.
So this is a new spoiler review, right? Just these.
No. So here's what I'm going to go ahead and say, because this will be attached at the very end of the episode, and so good point. Let me go ahead and say, if you are listening to this, this little bit of extra content, this little bonus part, spoiler warning, and I'll have it in the show notes, of course. Spoiler warning: if you have not watched the season finale of Invincible, don't proceed. Come back to this, because we're about to get in a spoiler territory. Are you in a good spot to like sit and chat for just a quick few?
I'm literally working in my mom's garden, and I'm getting in the car right now because we're going to talk about Invincible.
Nice. All right, folks. And for those of you unfamiliar with the voice, my apologies. We've got Ryan Paul Thompson, creator of GAM. It is not a convention. It is.
That's right.
Yeah. It's an art community that loves video games so much. They used to throw, at least, fantastic events that donated tremendous amounts of money
Those
to
were
charity.
the days.
Yeah, exactly.
It was part of the Viltrumite Empire. Y'all even know.
Are you telling me GAM has been a front all these years as part of the Viltrumite
Now
Empire?
you know the truth, finally.
Damn, GAM's not a con, but it is something else. You know, that should be your tagline. GAM is not a con, but it's something else.
And they'll be like, yeah, piece of shit.
All right, and you know what? And I will say this little bit of extra bonus content, that recording is dedicated in part to our good buddy Obi.
Oh, God, yeah. Obi is all about it.
The
now.
fact that, you know, and I don't want to speak for Obi, but I'm using my best guess. I don't think Obi is into comic books. I don't think he's currently reading them. He might have, you know, been influenced in his younger days. Not really sure, but the fact that I saw him on Twitter talking about Invincible and loving the show so much meant a lot. So shout outs to Obi, because he wanted to, like, for me and Ryan to hop on a call with him to chat it. He was like, I need someone to talk about this now. I guess, where do we begin? What's still the moment from the season finale that is still on your mind?
Oh man, 2, when he's holding him up in the subway, and the train is going through him, and all those people are exploding.
God.
Oh,
Which I won't lie, to me
Christ.
was radically overboard.
This is this is the
okay.
goriest thing I've ever seen in my life.
And dare I ask, how do they top that level of gore? I don't really want to know. To be honest, I don't want to know how do they.
I'm like, I want him to take it easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, calm down, man. I'm seeing intestines and brains and heads blowing up every episode. It's like, oh man,
This kid is in high school.
I know.
Like, how do you deal with that?
Oh man, that and the my favorite part is probably when getting his ass kicked on the mountain, and then he's basically like, "What will you have in 500 years? Everyone you know will be dead. What will you have?" And he's like, "All of you, Dad." What?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I can't hear you.
Say it.
I was like,
Say it with what little chest you got.
I know. What'd you say, boy? I can't hear you. Oh my God, he got us.
And Ryan, tell me if you feel this way, because the comics are still fresh in your mind. But I definitely, having us done our volume 1 of review a few episodes back, I felt like this season finale. I wasn't surprised. I was like, okay, this is going to be the moment that we, as comic fans, we've seen play out. But I'm curious how the animated series will deal with like Mark finding out, and then that very kind of beautiful moment they have, and Omni-Man flying away. I almost felt like and granted, it's a different medium. The animated series can do a little more. They can flesh it out.
Yeah.
But I thought they executed that so well. Like that was such a touching moment in the comics. Yeah. And for me, when comics are able to kind of touch that those heartstrings and that capture that emotion, because it's such a different, like I said, you're dealing with 2D images on paper, like you really got to marry both visuals as well as writing to be able to have that level of emotions at time. But I thought the animated series like delivered it in such a unique way with like that flashback, man.
Yeah.
And
the performances.
And I got to give a shout out to Sandra Oh, who plays Debbie Grayson, Mark's mom in the series.
Right.
She steals the show anytime that she's got a chance to do her voice acting.
She channeled that moment when she lost the black doctor in Grey's Anatomy. Like it all. Like I'm feeling it.
Oh man, way back,
fool, man.
But no, this is honestly one of the best adaptations I think I've ever experienced of going like from comic or book format to like I guess an electronic or like an animated medium, because there are things like obviously that are different, and I don't want to go too, because I feel like we definitely would spoil some shit.
Is it really better than Street Fighter the movie?
Nothing, man. I'm assuming we're not
the coked up Jean-Claude.
My level's too high. The level's too high. Who's going home and who's coming with me? But no, like the changes that they make, like it suits the medium. It suits the medium while it's still being as true as possible to the original. And like Ed's right, the performances are just on point. Like there's nobody that's a scrub just phoning it in here.
And it gives the people who read it, it's like, oh, okay, let's see where this is going.
Yeah, I don't mind this taking place in front of this, or this being a little out of order, because I was like, well, this doesn't take place until after Mark finds out, but it was good. I think Ed, you said it on our first recording that the wrinkles that this show has are unique and refreshing.
I can see a little bit of where I want to say that where they had to make changes, because cancel culture would have destroyed this book if they would have kept some of the plot lines in and had them run through its course.
What are some that come to mind? What are some that come to mind?
The whole his best friend being gay. Like in the comic book, he constantly jokes with the friend, and like he'll call certain things gay.
The sensibilities of the comic book are a lot different.
But I think in the comic book, especially you look back, I mean, this story took place over the course of 15 fucking years, but it was still reflecting that, hey, Mark was growing, and for him to even joke around like that so candidly. But you can't play that plot line out today, because shit, if that plot line played out over the course of 2 years, that show would have been canceled already. Like, there's no way. So they're like, let's just we're going to establish he's gay at the beginning, and just bypass that. Changing the color of they kind of made the girl that he was attracted to much more.
Well, they changed her, skin tone. She's a black girl in this.
They made her a black girl.
Yeah.
They made her doing like charity work. She's like woke and a half.
Yeah.
So, but again, it doesn't feel negative to the story.
No.
It feels like they made it in a way that was counter to Mark, because Mark was he wanted to do good, but at the same time, his vision of it was so narrow.
Well said.
So it's almost like a better version in a way, like in terms of using that character.
I know this much. I don't ever want to be yelled at by J.K. Simmons,
Oof.
whether that be in cartoon form or him via Whiplash. Like I just know that. Yeah, I can't. I don't want to ever be trained or yelled at by J.K.
man.
Simmons because
your dad never loved you, man. Shit.
And
that mustache is hiding the tears.
so I brought up how I thought that they did a great, because they announced that this show has been renewed for seasons 2 and a third season. So, we're getting 2 new seasons. It'll probably be a couple years in between. But I enjoyed that in the season finale, they did kind of like a wink at some of the stories that we can probably expect, whether it be in season 2 or maybe even season 3. But, and there was some familiar faces, not only characters that they introduced in this season so far, but even like
the Mahler twins. God, I love the Mahler twins.
Yeah, they're
great.
fantastic. They are great. But even like some characters and whatnot that they didn't even introduce in this. I'm thinking like, the other Viltrumites, like Conquest being one. I know everyone that has read the comics, when they saw him on screen, it was
that
like,
old guy that changed into the dragon with Titan.
Yes.
Like I was like, who's that guy?
Yeah, you got Professor, is his name Professor Magnum?
Or Seismic? Or the...
Seismic?
Yeah, it's Professor
Yeah,
Seismic.
with the lava people? Yeah.
Yes.
Magnum's what you bought last night. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I knew I should have.
And then they did Battle Beast too, right? They had a...
Oh my God, I can't wait for Battle Beast.
Oh, Battle Beast. God, Battle Beast is so damn epic.
He is.
Yeah, it's fresh on my mind.
He only gets even more badass in the comics. But Ryan, with things so fresh in your mind, what are some story arcs or characters that you want to see show up in the animated show that was introduced in the comic books? Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox Store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show.
Oh, God. Like, there was so much with... Adam Eve is so much more a complex character than there's any hinting of right now. Obviously, the Battle Beast stuff. Alan the alien.
Alan's awesome.
He's got a great arc.
Amazing.
Great art.
Yeah, he does. Like, to see him grow and change, and I don't even really know if it's say to grow, because it almost feels like the person he was at the beginning was, maybe this is kind of like the arc for almost all the characters. They were so pure at the beginning, and then it's like they go through even who's the not evil, but the government guy with the scar.
Cecil. Yeah,
Cecil.
Like, Cecil's way more empathetic in the cartoon.
100%.
Yeah,
The book. It's not as cold.
Yeah,
but then that might change over the course once because there's so much to reveal. Like, everybody's got these agendas, and like, here's my way of getting to it. The Tyrannosaurus guy, I can't wait to see that.
Dinosaurus.
Yeah, Dinosaurus.
Bomber, the Mad Bomber that bombs at midnight.
Yeah.
Because and it would make so much sense to incorporate that character because Mark has now lost his mentor role. And I mean, in the comic books, that's what makes it so kind of captivating is that he sees Tyrannosaurus as, you know, someone level-headed that can teach him the ropes of the superhero world, but he ends up being, you know, a sociopath. I will say, and you know what, here's another moment too, because it wasn't just all Mark and Omni-Man, even though that was, you know, 80% of it, but I love that they gave us that redeeming moment with Rexplode in the season finale when, you know, they decide, you know, fuck waiting around here and sitting out, you know, for Cecil. Let's go do what we can. I love that we saw the Guardians of the Globe become a team. And when they get back to the lair, they're all exhausted. And Rexplode, you know, decides the work ain't done yet. He starts cleaning up that blood. And everyone's, you know, like, you know, helping him out. Like, it's...
Well, that's funny because like Black Samson stops him,
he's like,
and then everybody gets into like, and it's like now we look like a team, and then they start. That's great.
It took me a minute. I was like, wait, now they're a team. Oh, because they're all on the same page. Got it. Okay, all right.
They were united by Superior Gambit.
Oh, he's way better than Gambit.
Oh God,
way better.
So
even the worst Rexplode is better than the best Gambit any day of the week.
And I love how each one of these characters, like even the shallow characters and the villains, like it really does a great job of painting perspectives. Because like when you start finding out, like, okay, well, here's how Rexplode came to be, and then you're like, oh man,
once you find out his childhood,
like no wonder
he does align with that. It's like because when he sees the clone, it's like are we going back to my childhood? Because that was no picnic. Let me tell you, you know,
that's fucked up too. I feel like a lot of people discount animated shows because for whatever reason, you know, it's supposed to be for kids. It's a cartoon.
You know, I thought this looked corny as fuck before I actually watched it. I was like, man, what is this?
Well, that's the thing with when we talked about the first one, Ryan, was like, if you watched it but you didn't watch those end credits, a lot of people could have said like, oh, this is corny. I've seen this before. I've seen Peter Parker before. But then when he like just annihilates the Guardians, the original Guardians, it's like, oh shit, okay, what's going on now? I think that's the part that's going to draw people in who are not familiar with the source material.
There isn't a wasted character, I think, not only in the comics, because everyone has like either a story arc, whether it be a small or a large one, but...
Even the seamstress, what's his name again?
Art Rosenbaum, played by Mark Hamill.
Like, amazing. Like he's a complete side character, but there's so much depth to him, and you feel for him, and then it helps develop more with Omni-Man, and then everybody plays part.
The voice acting is definitely the strongest component of this show, outside of like a spectacular story. But man, these guys are bringing,
because you actually got real fucking actors,
who
are used to acting instead of people like I don't want to discredit voice actors, but there's a difference like between somebody who's been doing voice acting, and I'd say the same for acting, for like 1 to 2 to 3 years. Versus somebody who has had to actually act in front of a screen and have like every facet, emote everything. Not just like I still applaud voice actors; they're awesome. But my personal thing is you can't compare someone who's only done voice acting to somebody who's done full on acting for decades.
Yeah, but you also have characters that haven't had a voice yet, so you're not held to like a standard like a Kevin Conrad. You're not anyone who does Batman. This is the standard. You know, it's like you have great actors. You're not just bringing in a celebrity to, you know, you're not Shrek in this. You're not Shrek in this cartoon. You know, you're bringing in like actors, and you have material that hasn't had an established voice for it yet. So you have brand new voices, new actors. So I see what you're saying, but it's like it's a little, the scale's a little bit different for this.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it's funny you say that. When I was watching Snyderverse, whatever the hell it's called now, and
Justice League Snyderverse.
Justice League, yeah, thank you. and Affleck would drop some of those Batman joke lines, and I'm like, man, that shit ain't Batman. But then I would think if I had heard this said by animated series Batman, the joke would have gone over. Like I would have 100%. Accepted it. So maybe you're right.
So having watched the show simultaneously reading the comics, did you have like a reference? Because for like the voices, you know, that you're reading. Because I know for me, you know, now it's hard not to read, Iron Man and not think Robert Downey's voice, or any of the actors that have portrayed them on the big screen. It's kind of nice having like a reference point now. Versus maybe the voices I made up in my head while I was reading them. Was that the case for you? Like, did you feel like, while you're reading Mark in the comics, you were thinking about Steven Yeun's voice?
I think because I went through the compendium so quickly, it didn't completely marry the voices I was hearing on Amazon. Like, they still had their own individual voices. Like, when I saw Alan, I wasn't hearing Seth Rogen going, oh, like I wasn't hearing all that. But it influenced it a little bit, but they still kind of, like, because the characters are just so strong. I feel like they still, for me, again, I think Ed's point before it, context. If I would have probably read this completely after finishing season 1 and then starting it, I think the voices probably would have played in more.
When did you get the compendium? Like, what episode did you order it?
It was like maybe episode, I think like 5, because I started off like, I was like, oh, Invincible's been out for a while now, and I just ate like 4 or 5 episodes at once. I was like, damn, this is good. It's getting close to the end though. Is there anything else out there? And then I was like, whoa, what? I'm like, all right. I was like, 3 compendiums, like each one of these probably have like 10 issues or some shit. And I'm like, oh my God, 160 plus issues.
Yeah. Each compendium is like what, 40? 40,
it's a lot.
50? Now that I think about it, I think 2 weeks ago when you had reached out and you made that Invincible reference, I'm like, wait, are you reading the comics? You were only on volume 1. And you just wrapped up the series, right?
So dude, I took some of the longest shits of my life.
Wow.
The past few weeks.
The legs start going
numb. Oh, there are 3. I didn't even know Tobago was resting on my foot.
Yeah, you are a fool. So look, speaking about the comics, I got 2 questions for you, and we can wrap up. One, what was like your favorite arc or moment from the comic books? And it doesn't got to be one. Maybe give me a few that stand out, that immediately come to mind. And then 2, if you don't mind refreshing not only me and maybe some of the listeners, where does Omni-Man go after leaving Earth? I kind of forgot where he ends up landing at. Can you answer those 2?
So it actually kind of ties them together, because one of the arcs that I was a big fan of was Oliver's. I think that was his brother's name, right? Was it Oliver?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, he has sex with a praying mantis.
Oh,
lady.
yeah.
Yes, that's right. Mark has a brother out there.
Yeah. That whole storyline, the way that it started off, like everything was hyperspeed with him. Even like Mark's brashness, you could see it being played out with Oliver hyperspeed, because the way that he was aging.
Yeah, that's right.
And then like the things playing out with his dad in terms of trying to accept and recognize just how precious like human life is, or how life is in general. And that he was from the planet that Omni-Man ended up going to, and ended up like sexing it up and having like a new life, a new family.
And Ryan, help me out, because one of the things that I enjoy about the comic book series, and I usually use it to recommend to folks, is that, you are watching, because it is a finite story. It ends on issue 143 or something like that.
Yeah, which is remarkable in itself to actually have it.
Exactly. A story, a superhero story at that has a beginning and end, and that has ran for so long. One of the best aspects of that is that you get to watch, all of these characters, not just Mark, but, his entire universe and his supporting characters, like, grow. Mark literally grows before your eyes, from, graduating high school to eventually, like, having his own kids and meeting, like, other family members of his and things like that. Was that was that a component that, was in the forefront of your mind while reading this? Was that something that kind of captivated you too?
100%. I can't remember the last time I've seen that. Like, in this, like, I think of Breaking Bad in terms of having like, hey, this was a story that actually had the guts to have like just a full arc and close it off. This is the story of Walter White and his kind of experiences. Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen that in a comic, where it's just like, hey, this is the start, and hey, we could keep on going, but we're not. We're just going to stop it here. If we want to spin it off, we can. They gave it so much more integrity. Like, I felt like everything I was reading actually mattered. Yeah.
Well said. Everything had like stakes. Because to your point,
yeah,
when you look at Robert Kirkman's, you know, his other bodies of work, he is not afraid to kill off characters, whether they are, you know, integral to the story, side characters, supporting cast, whatever it may be. It's like when Robert Kirkman kills off a character, he's killing off that character. They're not going to revive them for the next season or a spin-off. Yeah, more. Yeah, good point. Good point. So you're right. It does force you to have those emotional connections because it does mean something. You know, like it's like, man, this guy could go at any moment.
It was kind of fitting that he, or at least I could see the relationship between him and Larson working together. Because I remember, like, at least in the early, like, Savage Dragon days, like, Larson gave no fucks. He was like, this character's alive, now this character's
that's
dead.
true.
Or guess what? You like Savage Dragon? Guess what? Here's Black Savage Dragon. And you're like, what? Like, we just do it. Like, in terms of, like, you know, if the story goes this way, this is the way the story goes. It's not about me selling more stuff, although I'm sure, like, there's a financial aspect, but it was more about where do these characters need to go instead of the endless loop that we're kind of typically trapped in with whether it's Marvel and DC. You know, it's not bad. That's just the nature of the beast. It's a different thing entirely. But I'm so respectful of this.
I'm thinking back some more about the season finale and just that flashback, man. Like it took me through a roller coaster of emotions. Like I damn near teared up, man, during that flashback scene where Sandro delivers such a great monologue about what it means to be human, man. And like,
the baseball scene.
Yes, and straight up, I can imagine if I had kids or anyone watching has kids, I'm sure that was probably a super heartwarming.
And it's
moment.
cool because that's basically how they bond when he gets his powers. They're playing, you know, catch. So it kind of goes back to the baseball.
Wow.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I'm excited to see where the series goes, not just from like the cool action moments, but Ryan, to your point, them developing, you know, characters like Adam Eve, who becomes, which I'm curious to see if they make her a, you know, his primary love interest. You know, it looks like Zazie Beetz' character Amber is probably here to stay. I don't think they're going to just brush her off, but I'm curious to see how Mark deals. Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, think about where he's at now. He is he is the strongest character or superhero in this universe. He's got the pressure of defending it, knowing that, you know, his dad or the Viltrumite Empire is coming back.
Yep.
So we get to watch him, you know, deal with these pressures. You know, he's the man of the house, and the house happens to be the whole fucking world.
18.
Yeah,
like,
and he's still in high school. Yeah. That's what he tells Alan. He's like, so what are you gonna do? I was like, well, finish high school, I guess.
No, sounds like a good start. Yeah, it's like, man, they built up. They really did a good job making me care more than just the super heroic aspects. Like I'm curious to see like how his mom goes forward from this, you know, how she, you know, how she can recover and go on. And even like his friends too, you know, like they've now bonded over, you know, Mark's secret identity. They all know it. They all saw what happened, you know, like even seeing where they go with that will be interesting.
And how many people Will's gonna tell everybody? Not keep a secret.
You guys have any closing remarks about the series? And I'll also ask if you had to share any words with anyone that is right there on the edge, that maybe had the same feelings that Ryan mentioned. You know, I don't really know about this show. What would you say to get them over that edge?
Costume, man. Corny ass
I love that costume. That yellow and blue is a great color.
I do. Yeah.
Poser. Ed, any closing remarks?
Oh man, like I said, I know Ryan, you said this is probably the best adaptation you've seen, and it's very hard to argue with that because, like I said, it's something that, you know, growing up with superheroes, you've never seen. He takes those familiar tropes that we all know and we all can relate to, but man, he turns that up. That especially, and not just the violent stuff, because it's very shocking. Like once you see this looks like this is a kid coming of age story, and then you see like guts and stuff. It's very jarring, and I don't know if everybody's going to be on board with that. I think that might turn off some people, even though it is animated violence, and I don't consider it like, you know, seeing like a live action version of that, which would be insanity. But I would say anybody who's grew up with comics, because we're all familiar with this kind of storyline. Everybody, even non-comic people, they know the Superman story, they know the Batman story, they know Spider-Man, so they can kind of relate. But then just have it turned up to 11 and turned on its side, and he's done a remarkable job with this. And like I said, and being on Amazon where you can get away with this level of violence and cursing and craziness, I can't recommend it enough, because like I said, I was very, very late with the comic. You know, I didn't, because I just saw it, I took it at face value and just like, oh, okay, whatever. You know, it's like, okay, yellow and blue guy. Well, I've read enough superhero stuff, you know, and I didn't even give it a chance until way, way later, till almost when it was 2/3 done. And it's a remarkable piece of work. And this guy has done 2 remarkable, you know, basically is crossed over to mainstream with Walking Dead and this. I think it has that crossover potential. It's crazy to put out 2 bodies of work this big, you know.
I agree. What about you, Ryan? Any closing remarks?
I would say that give it a chance. Give it some time. Invincible is one of those stories and characters that once you kind of experience it and digest it, this gives you that moment that you had when you were younger. Like the first time that you started reading Spider-Man, the first time you read Superman, Batman, and like those stories, those archetypes, the morality and the ethics behind it, those stick with everybody. And I think Invincible falls in that same category. It's so unique and different and so profound. Like I don't see anybody, you won't forget about Invincible 10, 15, 20 years down the line. You'll still remember it. It will still affect you. This shit ain't like Cardiac coming out in Amazing Spider-Man 350, whatever. Like this is like not just another superhero deal.
Oh,
damn!
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that.
If I had a trophy to give you for incorporating a Cardiac Spider-Man reference into a conversation about Invincible, I would. Damn it. Gam needs to come back. That's all I'm saying. We need it. That was good. Ryan, I appreciate you taking the call and chatting with us.
I appreciate it too. You guys are awesome.
Once again, I want to give a shout out to anyone who's been enjoying Invincible, who listened to our episode 1 through 3 recap, and a big shout outs to Obi for inspiring me to go ahead and give Ryan a call. I'd love to hear from anyone who's watched the season finale, who's got their own thoughts.
Obi is still alive, by the way. Just in case anybody's wondering, from all the respect, so he's alive. Nothing bad happened.
My bad if I'm apologizing or if I'm talking about him in like the afterlife. Obi is well and alive. I just wanted to say, shout out to Obi.
We knew him well.
Yeah. But like I said, if you got anything that you want to send us to chime in, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on Invincible and the season finale. Shoot us something short and sweet at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. Ryan, once again, thank you so much, and we'll holler at you soon, all right?
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, boys.
See you later, buddy.